Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of In the Know Crypto. I'm your host, Clarence Thomas. Today is March 7th, 2022, and let's talk about Biden's executive order that he is set to sign. Now, we actually covered this before. This was set to come out, but before we do that, and before we look at the charts, I do want to apologize. I have not made a video last several days, about a week. I'm still getting things organized here in my new apartment in Puerto Rico. And so I've been really focused on that. Haven't even stopped to cut my hair. I'm looking really bushy. So I do apologize. I promise I will get back on track with putting out more regular daily content. But having said all that, gotten that out of the way, let's take a look at quickly the today's market. Looking pretty rough. Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin overall has held in this range of 37, 38,000 and into the 40,000s, 42, 43, that sort of range. Everything else has been bleeding badly. I was pretty certain that we would go into a bear market. I think a lot of people were. Now, we didn't have quite the blow off top of Bitcoin that everyone was expecting. We didn't hit 100,000. But a lot of us did anticipate having a bear market at some point into 2022. So it's pretty obvious that we're here. Now, are we in a full-blown crypto winter? I don't know. But previous bear markets, altcoins have dropped well over 90%. Even top quality projects like Ethereum. Ethereum peaked out at $1,400 in January of 2018. By December of 2018, 11 months later, Ethereum was at $80, back down to $80. So that's something like a 93% drop in price, about 15x in the opposite direction, dropped like 15 times its value. This one now, again, I keep going back to 71% of people have gotten into crypto over the last year or so. If you haven't lived through these, obviously, people are leaving the markets because this is why the prices are so low. They're afraid they're selling off. Listen to me. The bull market is where you make money, right? When everything is going crazy and it's all in your uncle and the person that cuts your hair and everyone talks about how they put in $100 and they turned it into $800 with Dogecoin or some of the shit coin, or even good projects. Man, I put it in and within 2 weeks I made this and this and that. Okay, good. Woohoo. No, all this. You make some money then. There's a small window of time to make money. To get rich, you get rich in the bear market. When everything is down ridiculously stupid low. I'm telling you, someone that's done it. I wasn't buying Cardano over $1. I was buying Cardano at 3 cents, 5 cents, 7 cents, etc. Almost all my purchases were well under 10 cents. Accumulated for some years and was able to retire. Okay, so I'm telling you as someone that has followed this. I think prices are going to continue to drop. Now, how long, I don't know, but the momentum with everything that's going on right now, I mean, momentum is not in the favor of crypto. This regulation that's coming out, which I'm going to talk about, is actually a very good thing long term. You have, of course, the Ukraine war. Let's call it what it is. The invasion in war continues to get worse and worse. You have risk on assets being dumped by institutions, by individuals. The NASDAQ is down significantly. And so I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. I personally went full-blown Bitcoin last May. I had cashed out mostly my positions, had a lot of stable coins on the sideline. In April, didn't know, I actually believed we were going to continue rising. But in case I was wrong, I kept pulling out. Turns out I was wrong. We did have that crash, and I went pure Bitcoin at that time. So my entry points were actually between 36, 38,000. So I haven't really done anything right now. But Bitcoin continues to hold its value relative to the alts, which seems to be the case. In the coming months, I'll be pouring into some alts, and we'll there'll be more videos on that. So anyway, yeah, crypto fear and greed index at 23. No surprise there. Extreme fear over the last several weeks, which obviously reflects in the market as much as we're down. But anyway, let's jump into the top story. So Biden is set to issue an executive order, sign an executive order as it relates to cryptocurrency regulation. Now, initially, again, this was set to come out last month, even in February. A couple weeks ago, it was supposed to come out that week, but didn't happen, mostly because of Ukraine. Now, ironically, we're coming right back to, because of the sanctions on Russia, that's being looked at again. But it's not just that. The government's looking at CBDC, a central bank digital currency, at perhaps doing that, and what the benefits would be. More on that in another video. But also looking at the environmental concerns of proof of work algorithms, such as Bitcoin predominantly, right? And looking at things like sanctions and how to prevent anti-money laundering and things like that. And so, again, I'll say initially, regulation could be a bad thing. There's a lot of money. Now, there's a lot of institutions that are buying crypto. There's no secret about that. There's about at least $1 trillion on the sideline of large hedge funds, as well as small family offices, etc., investment asset wealth management funds, that there's about $1 trillion actually looking to get in to the crypto market, to a wall come into crypto. They just want regulatory clarity. They don't want to buy an asset and then suddenly that be deemed a security, right? And even actually Gary Gensler, I was watching a video a couple of days ago where Gary Gensler reiterated, he said, I think a very large portion of cryptos are securities. And I'll make in fact, I'll make sure to do a deep dive on his comments tomorrow and in tomorrow's video. But he's still pro Bitcoin. He taught Bitcoin at MIT. He understands it very, very, very well, probably better than most crypto investors. And so they don't, the more and more that this technology continues to develop, the more and more the regulators warmed up to many aspects of it, just like the internet in the early days. But they also want to regulate it. So again, you may be pro-regulation, anti-regulation. I'm anti-over-regulation, obviously, but having some regulation and some clarity will bring trillions of dollars into this asset class in just the U.S. alone. That doesn't even mention Europe, South America, etc., which a lot of them, Brazil already has an ETF, etc., but regulation is going to help a lot. So a little redundant there in my message, but anyway, this from NBC News talks about how the Ukraine conflict became a turning point for crypto. And so, yes, it shows both sides of the coin, where there's concern about crypto, the sanctions against Russia, right? But what I love, I made a video talking about how $4.1 million of crypto was donated to the Ukrainian military. Now, that was last week. That number's now up to at least 54 million. So 12 times, 13 times what even was then has actually gone to Ukraine, right? So now and I'll continue to say this, obviously war is a horrible thing. It's sad that it took something like this to show the two sides, the two parallels of crypto. One side, you have the concerns with, obviously, the sanctions, but the other side, it shows how fast funds, value, right, currency, etc., money can be transferred to individuals when it's needed. And so this actually, it's very much a turning point for crypto. Now, one of the things this goes on to talk about with this article is how many of these centralized exchanges said, hey, listen, the nature of crypto is decentralized in its nature, right? So you had Binance, Kraken, one KuCoin, I believe, some other exchanges that said, hey, we're not going to block Russian users. Like someone in Russia that's against the war, could be pro-war, against the war. Listen, we're not going to block them from using crypto. But quietly, just to hear more quietly, however, there were many complying with the sanctions plan aimed at devastating the Russian economy. And so they have gone to say, yes, if it's law, international financial law, right, U.S. law, etc., we will comply with law. So very, very interesting. But I want to add this because this is why I'm still very, very bullish on Uniswap and other decentralized exchanges. That has not been a topic. I know the last couple months, the metaverse became the big to-do in crypto. I still think that decentralized finance, decentralized exchanges are going to play a huge, huge role because you can't issue a cease and desist letter against a decentralized exchange. I mean, you can, but it's a protocol that's just that. It's decentralized. It can't be blocked. So I think this is going to be a year for things like Uniswap. Again, the price may go way down, but I'm talking about actual increase in users, which typically has a huge impact on the increase in price long term. And so just throwing that out there, something to consider and look at. Not financial advice, of course. Now, closing up here with the senior Democrat warns against tough clampdown on crypto. So now this gentleman here, Ron Wyden, chair of Senate Finance Committee, chair of the Senate Finance Committee and one of the architects of U.S. internet regulation, urged its members of his party to protect crypto innovators despite concerns about fraud and money laundering, etc. Which, now, having said that, regulators and people continue to bring that up. It's estimated that about 0.15%, literally 0.15% of crypto transactions, sending money, receiving money, deposits, converting currency, 0.15% actually was a direct result to fraudulent activity, which I think that number is way higher with cash. Just saying. I would venture to say that at least 0.15% of activity online is illegal, immoral activity as well. So anyway, a little bit of a tangent, but which is why he says, hey, look, we don't need to over-regulate this thing. What I love here is he goes on to say, and again, I'll continue to mention this in my videos, there is obviously a debate relative to stricter regulation, but I want to be on the side of the innovator. When I think about crypto, I think about remittances or somebody who has a kid 1,000 miles away, somewhere like Ukraine or maybe sub-Saharan Africa or somewhere, and wants to get them help in an emergency rather than going through scores of banks, credit card companies. I can attest to this, especially during the lockdown. I know tens of thousands of people around the world, many from underdeveloped countries, India, of course, Brazil, all across Africa, Southeast Asia, etc. I personally have had several instances where individuals were total lockdown. They weren't even able to get to something like Western Union because it was locked down. They literally didn't have money for food, literally. Hit me up and I said, hey, I'll get you some money. And I used my wallet or an exchange, crypto exchange, shot them, a few $100 or whatever, not a small sum. Got that to them. Took 15 minutes to happen. No bullshit. No trying to get to Western Union. No bank. No nothing. They got it. They then deposited that to a debit card and they had money and they could buy what they needed. So I can attest to this as someone that lives it regularly. And so, just wanted to tie up with that, with I think we're still moving in the right direction. I know the price right now isn't showing that. If you go back and look at Amazon, many of these emerging technologies was very, very volatile in the beginning. But Bitcoin, Ethereum, many of these layer ones, layer twos, etc., they're here to stay. Crypto's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. And so, ladies and gentlemen, again, thank you once again. Hope you have a great rest of your evening. Stay in the know and stay crypto. Take care. Bye.